So, dear students, today we will talk about regular and normal spaces. Before going to the regular and normal spaces, I will let you know about what are hereditary and topological properties. First of all, hereditary properties. In a topology, a space is said to have a hereditary property if that property is also shown by its subspace. So, if a property that a space have that is also shown by its subspace, then that property is said to be hereditary property. Topological property. A topological property or topological invariant is a property of a topological space which is invariant under homeomorphism. So a property which is invariant under homeomorphism is said to be topological property. Uh, Invariant under homomorphism means if two spaces are homomorphic to each other, then what if a property is shown by one space, then the same property will also be shown by another space, which is homomorphic image of the earlier space. Then that property is said to be topological property, which remains invariant under homomorphism. Now let's talk about T-naught space, or it's also called Kolmogorov space. A T-naught or Kolmogorov space is a topological space is called T-naught space if for all two distinct elements x not equal to y belongs to x, there exists a neighborhood u of x not containing y, or there exists a neighborhood v of y not containing x. So either we should have a neighborhood of x which does not contain y, or we have a neighborhood of y which does not contain x. Then that space is said to be T-naught or Kolmogorov space. Example of these spaces, usual topological space is T-naught space. Discrete space is also T-naught space. But indiscrete space is not a T-naught space. Discrete space is a space in which every subset of X is contained in its topological space. That means this topology, in this topology, every subset of X is present. In discrete space, X and empty set are only the two elements in its topology. So it is the smallest topology on any space. Now T-naught is hereditary property. Hereditary property means if its space is T-naught, then its subspace will also be T-naught space. Thus every subspace of T-naught space is also T-naught space. Now T1 space, it's very important space. A space X tau is called T1 space if for any two distinct elements x not equal to y, there exists a neighborhood u of x not containing y, and there exists a neighborhood v of y not containing x. So that means if x is not equal to y, then there must exist neighborhood of x which does not contain y, and there must exist neighborhood of y which does not contain x. So earlier there was in T-naught space, here and was replaced by or, but for the T1 space here and, that means both should have neighborhoods, x and y both should have neighborhood, and such that one does not contain the another. Example of T1 space is discrete space. So set of all subsets of x that form the topology is discrete topology, that space is T1 space. Usual topological space R is also T1 space. Even in this case, in discrete space will not be T1 space. In discrete space will not be T1 space. Now here is a mark T, every T1 space is T0 space. So T1 implies T0, but converse may not be true. So let us prove that how a T1 space is T0 space. If we see the difference between the definition of T0 and T1 is, here we have OR, all the other definition is same, but in case of T1 we have AND. This is the only difference. So let xt be a T1 space, x2 be a T1 space. So for all x not equal to y, there exists a neighborhood u of x not containing y, and there exists a neighborhood v of y not containing x. Now for all x not equal to y, we can replace AND by OR. There exists a neighborhood u of x not containing y, or we have replaced AND by OR. We can do here. There exists a neighborhood v of y not containing x, and this is actually definition of T0 space. So this implies x2 is T0 space. Now the converse may not be true. For example, let x be any space with these three elements a, b, c, and we define topology on x, this topology which contains empty set, singleton set a, ab, and x. Here x2 is T0 but not T1. Why not it is T1? Because here B0, B and C are two distinct elements of this space. B and C are two distinct elements of this space, but there does not exist any neighborhood of C not containing A. There does not exist any neighborhood of C which does not contain A, because in case of T1, both B and C should have neighborhoods. B should have neighborhood which does not contain C, and C should have a neighborhood which does not contain B. But here, if you see that there's a no open set other than X which contains C, but this is the only open neighborhood of C, but X also contains B. So there does not exist any neighborhood of C which does not contain A. Sorry, here it should be B. Please correct here. It will be B here. Now a space x2 is T1 space if and only if every singleton set is closed in X. It is also called T1 axiom. We have earlier studied this theorem with name T1 axiom. So a space x2 is T1 space if and only if every singleton set is closed in set in X. So if a space is T1 space, then every singleton set in that space will be closed and every finite set will be closed. Now Hausdorff space or T2 space. A space x2 is called T2 space if for all x not equal to y be two elements of X, there exists a neighborhood u of x and a neighborhood v of y such that u intersection v are disjoint. Now here x and y have neighborhoods which are disjoint with each other. Not only containing, so there must be a neighborhood of X not only containing y but actually disjoint from the neighborhood of y. So this is the definition of Hausdorff space. Earlier in the case of T1 space, this condition wasn't there. Now T2 implies T1 but converse may not hold. You can easily check that T2 implies T1 because in T1 all the definition is the same, only this condition was absent, so we can subtract this condition from Hausdorff space, then the remaining definition will be of T1 space. So every T2 space is T1, but converse may not hold. T0, T1 and T2 are hereditary properties. T0, T1 and T2 are hereditary properties. That means subspaces of T0, T1, T2 are also T0, T1 and T2 spaces. Now the regular space. Now it comes the regular space. First of all, I will define what is regular space. A topological space X2 is called a regular space if for all X belongs to X and for all closed sets B not containing X, there exists a open set U. There exist open sets U containing X and open set V containing B, such that U intersection V are empty, disjoint. U and V are disjoint. So that means there is a closed set B and there is any element X. For any element X, there exists a closed subset B such that both has disjoint neighborhoods. So there is a neighborhood V which contains B and neighborhood U of X such that U and V are disjoint. Every indiscrete space is regular space. Now this is very important. Indiscrete space was not T0 space, it was not T1 space, neither it was T2 space, but indiscrete space is the regular space. You can easily check. And discrete space is a regular space. Discrete space is also regular space. Even the R with the usual topology is also regular space. Now, important theorem: a space X2 is regular. A space X2 is regular if and only if for all X belongs to X and for all neighborhood U of X, there exists a neighborhood V of X such that X is contained in V and V is always a subset of its closure, and neighborhood U also contains a closure of V. So there must exist a neighborhood V of X such that V closure of V is also contained in U. Let's do the proof of this theorem. Let X be a regular space and let X, here we are assuming, here we have to prove if and only if. So first we taking X as a regular space, we will prove this condition and then vice versa. So let X be a regular space and let X belongs to X and U be the any neighborhood of X. There exists an open set O such that as U is neighborhood, so there must be some open set which contains X and itself containing U. This is just definition of neighborhood. Now, if O is open set, then O complement is closed set not containing X, because O is containing X, though O complement will not contain X. So it is actually a closed set not containing X. And as space is regular, so there must be some neighborhood which will contain, so there is this open set V containing X and open set W containing this closed set such that V and W are disjoint. V intersection W is empty. Now as V intersection W is empty, this implies V will be contained in W complement. And this implies V closure will be contained in W complement closure. But W is open set, and complement of W will be closed set, and closure of closed set is itself. So this will be equal to WC. So as WC is closed set, so V closure is contained in WC. Now as O complement is contained in W, so W complement will be contained in O. So we can have W complement contain V closure. So we have X belongs to V, V is contained in V closure, and V closure is contained in W complement, and here W complement is in O. O is again in U. So if we remove this part, we can say that X belongs to V and V contained in V closure, and V closure is contained in U. Now the converse part, let this condition holds, we will show that then space will be regular space. Let the condition be given, we need to prove the space is regular. So for the regular space, we need to show that there for every point X, for every closed set B which does not contain X, there must exist open sets which contain X and open set which contains B and which are disjoint. So we have to show this definition of regular space. So let X be any point and B be any closed set not containing X. Now the B complement is open set. As B is closed, so B complement is open set containing X. B does not contain X, so B's complement will contain X. So B complement is open set which is containing X. This implies B complement is neighborhood of X. Now if B complement is neighborhood of X, so we can use this condition. If U is neighborhood of X, then there exists some neighborhood V of X such that V and its closure both are contained in U. Here U is replaced by B complement. B complement is neighborhood of X, so by given condition there exists a neighborhood V of X such that here you just replace it by U. So here X belongs to U and U belongs to U closure is a subset of B complement. Now just take U closure complement is equal to V. Here U is open set, is the neighborhood of X, and U closure is a closed set and its complement will be open set. So here as U closure is closed set, U complement is open set, and U closure is contained in B complement. This implies U closure complement will contain B. So this implies, and here U complement is equal to V, so V contains B. So V is open set containing B. Now U is neighborhood of X, so there exists open set O such that X belongs to O which is contained in U. So O is contained in U closure. If O is contained in U closure, then taking an intersection on both sides with B, O intersection B is contained in U closure intersection B. But here V is U closure complement, and clearly their intersection will be empty. U and its complement is empty set. So V and O are disjoints. So we have obtained two sets, O which contains X and V which contains a closed set B, which does not contain X, and both are disjoint. So the space is regular space. As for arbitrary point X and closed set B, there exists open set O of X and an open set B V of containing B such that O intersection V is empty set. Now T3 space. There's a difference in Munker's book and here, that in Munker's book they treat regular space and T3 space the same spaces. So according to them, a regular space set is definition of regular space contains one more condition that which is necessary for the T3 space. First of all, T2 and regular spaces are topological properties. Both are topological properties. T2 and regular. T3 space, a space X2 is called T3 space if it is regular and T1. If it is regular and T1. So that means regular space, according to us, regular space does not necessarily having the T1 condition. But by the Munker's book, regular space in itself has this condition. So some authors treat that regular space is also a T1 space, but actually regular space is a different space and T3 space is a space which is regular space with this condition. So we're just adding one more condition, T1, and if you remember, the T1 space is in which every singleton set is closed set. Now T3 implies T2. T3 implies T2. A regular space does not imply T2, but T3 implies T2. Let X2 be the T3 space. So X2 is a regular and T1 space. And let X0, XY are two distinct points of X. Since X2 is T1 space, because it is T3, so T3 is T1 plus regular. So it is also T1 space. So using the condition of T1, so singletons are closed sets. So here singleton set Y can be treated as closed set. Is closed set not containing X. Since space is regular, so there exists open set around Y, U containing X, and open set V which contains Y, such that their intersection is Y. So actually for any two distinct points X and Y, we are able to find two open sets U and V which contains X and Y and which are disjoint. Hence, for all X not equal to Y, there exist open sets U, V containing X, Y respectively, such that U intersection Y is empty. So T3 space is T2 space. And T3 is hereditary property. That means every subspace of T3 is also T3 space. That is T0, T1, T2, T3 all are hereditary properties. Now the normal space. A space X2 is called normal if for all disjoint closed sets A, disjoint closed sets A and B, there exists open sets U which contain A and open set V which contain B such that U intersection V is empty set. So in case of regular space, there was one closed set and one point. Here for the normal space, there are two closed sets which are contained in two open sets which are disjoint. Every indiscrete space is normal, like regular space. Regular space, indiscrete space is also regular space. So every indiscrete space is normal space. Discrete space is normal. Discrete space is normal. Discrete space is also regular. space X2 is called normal if and only if for all closed set A and for all open set U containing A, there exists open set V such that A is containing V, V is containing V closure and itself containing U. The proof is same as for the regular space where instead of a closed set A we're having a single element X. Just we have to replace point X by the closed set A. Normal is topological property, so it is hereditary property as well as it's a topological property. Sorry, it's a topological property. It's not hereditary property. Normal is not a hereditary property. It's topological property. We'll give an example to show that it's not a hereditary property. And normal is not a hereditary property. Here, let X be this set and define a topology tau on X. And then you can check that under this topology, this space is normal space. Now let Y be subset of X with subspace topology. Subspace topology means we have to take the intersection of these sets with Y, with ABC. So whatever come is this collection. Now, so Y with this subspace topology is not normal. You can check easily. It's an exercise for you. Just check that. You have to just find, first of all, what are closed sets. Complements of these in Y will be closed sets. Closed subsets of a normal space is normal. Closed subsets of a normal space is normal. Let X2 is the normal space and Y be tau closed set. We have shown that normality is not a hereditary property, that every subspace of a normal space is not normal, but every closed subset of a normal space is normal. So let X2 be a normal space and Y be the closed subset of X. Now we define a subspace. The closed subsets of normal space is normal. So let X2 be a normal space and Y be a closed subset of X. Let U be the subspace topology on Y. To prove Y with this topology is normal, so we have to show that Y subset of X is a normal space with subspace topology. Let L and M be any two U closed sets such that they are disjoint. So we consider two closed sets which are disjoint in Y. Now L and Y M are U closed sets. If they are closed in Y, so then it must be from intersection of L1 intersection Y and M1 intersection Y, where L1 and M1 are closed in X. Two closed sets in X. But Y is also closed in X. As Y is closed in X, and L1 and M1 are also closed in X, so their intersection will also be closed in X. So actually L and M, which were closed in Y, are also closed in X. They are also closed in X. Now as L and M are closed in X. Now X is normal. X, the whole space is given to be normal. So there exist open sets U and V in X such that U contains L and V contains M, such that their intersection is empty. Just a definition of normal space. But as U contains L implies U intersection Y. Now this set will be open in Y. Will contain L intersection Y, which will be L itself, because Y is already containing already a subset of Y. So L intersection Y will be actually equal to L. So U intersection Y will contain L. Similarly, V intersection Y will contain M, where U intersection V is empty implies they are also disjoint. U intersection Y are open in Y such that their intersection is empty, and which contains L, M respectively. So the subspace Y will also be normal space. And this is only possible because Y is closed. So as Y is closed, so we can show that this space, this set is closed in X, and then we can use this condition of normal space of X. So for disjoint closed sets L and M in Y, there exist disjoint open sets U intersection Y containing L and V intersection Y containing M such that their intersection is empty. So Y is a normal space. Thank you.